There's something that not many people talk about. It's not the age that hurts. It's the silence during gatherings. It's when people look past you and nod at you. You are there, with incredible stories, with life lessons that no one else has. But it seems like the world only sees the wrinkles, the slowness, the superficial details. This feeling of invisibility grows quietly, like a plant. At first, you barely notice a grandson who doesn't return your call, a friend who no longer invites you to gatherings, the pharmacy clerk who speaks louder to you as if you don't understand. And little by little, that feeling of belonging, of being valued, starts turning into something different, something that tightens your chest. That's exactly what I saw in a valuable lesson from an 85-year-old doctor, a man who has already cared for thousands of patients and still today radiates an admirable energy. His eyes shine like those of someone who's 30, and the people around him seem to flourish in his presence. He told me, age is in the spirit, but it's our habits that leave marks on our soul and on our face. And what if I told you there's a way to turn this around? That with small but effective changes, you can get that sparkle back in your eyes. You can go back to being heard, respected, admired. The good news is that changing these behaviors is simpler than it seems. Small improvements can boost your confidence, make your social presence lighter, and make you be seen as someone full of life and wisdom. Today I'm going to show you what these bad habits are and how to leave them behind in a natural and uncomplicated way. Habit 1. Neglecting your personal appearance. Personal appearance might seem trivial, but appearance directly influences the way people treat us. That doesn't mean we have to dress like a soap opera star. Far from it. It's about taking care of yourself and respecting yourself. I remember a story that really marked me as if it were yesterday. Lucas, a longtime friend, was always a friendly, playful guy, but over time he started neglecting himself. His hair grew out without any shape, his nails were kind of dirty, and his clothes were a bit wrinkled. He was always complaining that he felt invisible, that people didn't start conversations with him anymore, that the cashiers at the store didn't even really look at him. That's when, during a conversation, I remembered what the 85-year-old doctor told me one day. The first impression people have of you is like gift wrapping. If it's poorly taken care of, no one is interested in knowing what's inside. Lucas became thoughtful. The following weekend, he decided to give his appearance a makeover. He went to the barber, got a haircut, shaved his beard, took some nice shirts he had stored away, and had them ironed. He even bought some simple moisturizer at the pharmacy, the kind you think is unnecessary until you use it and see the difference. In just a few days, he looked like a different man. His smile came back, and the conversation flowed again. Other people's eyes lit up when he arrived. This transformation isn't about vanity, it's about presence. When we take care of ourselves, we send the message that we value who we are, and others naturally respond to that. And the best part, you don't have to spend a fortune. Keeping your haircut up to date, keeping your nails clean and trimmed, wearing clean and well-ironed clothes, moisturizing your skin with a basic lotion, and keeping your shoes clean already make a big difference. These small acts of self-care are like seeds. We plant them today and soon start reaping smiles, respect, and admiration. I know there are people who think, but at this age, who's going to notice me? Let me tell you, the world does notice. And more important than what the world sees is what you feel. When you get ready, fix yourself up, look in the mirror, and like what you see, your mood changes. You feel stronger, more energetic, happier. The 85-year-old doctor always used to tell me, the body is the first home of our soul. Take care of it as you take care of your home. Clean, organized, and welcoming. Habit 2. Aggressive or loud communication. Now that we've seen how taking care of your image makes a difference, let's talk about something just as important: our communication. There's no point in looking good if when we open our mouths, our words push people away instead of bringing them closer. And this often happens without us even noticing. Want to see a real example? Thomas, my longtime friend, was known for being the lively one in the group. He always spoke loudly, laughed loudly, and called out to everyone from across the room. But as the years went by, I noticed that the group was slowly drifting apart. The conversations became less frequent. People started having smaller gatherings without telling him, and he, poor guy, couldn't understand why. That's when his niece suggested he get a hearing test. The result, a mild hearing loss. Since he couldn't hear well, he started speaking louder and louder without realizing it. The 85-year-old doctor always says, the secret to a good conversation is more about listening than speaking. And it's true. Speaking too loudly, interrupting, shouting, or even getting worked up easily can make others feel uncomfortable. And nobody likes to be where they don't feel comfortable. But the good news is that there's a solution for this too, and it's not complicated. Getting regular hearing tests after a certain age, paying attention to your tone of voice when you notice people pulling back, and practicing active listening are simple steps that can transform your social interactions. Speaking in a mindful tone, pausing during conversations, and observing the reactions of people around you help create a kinder and more welcoming communication. The 85-year-old doctor told me that throughout all these years of his profession, it was never what he said that healed, but the way he said it, the tone of his voice, the welcoming look, the patience to listen to the other person's pain. Habit 3. Very old or worn-out clothes. Now let's talk about something that, although it seems simple, has a huge impact. The clothes we choose for our daily lives. Clothing is like the frame of a painting. It doesn't change who we are inside, but it highlights or hides our best features. A lot of people think that after a certain age, it doesn't matter what you wear, that there's no one left to dress up for. But let me tell you, there is. It's for yourself. I remember Jake well, a great friend from our fishing trips. He was always an upbeat guy, full of stories, but he started falling into a routine of always wearing the same faded t-shirt and the same old cap. It was almost like his trademark: worn-out shirt, baggy pants, sneakers falling apart. Over time, he started complaining that nobody would start a conversation with him like they used to. It seemed like he had faded a bit. One day, to go to a birthday party, his daughter insisted that he wear a new shirt that had been kept in the closet for a long time. It was a simple light blue shirt, nicely ironed. When he arrived at the party, it seemed like everyone noticed him again. People smiled more, talked more. Even his posture changed. He stood up straighter, looking more lively. And do you know what he told me afterwards? Man, it even felt like I had gotten 10 years younger. And that's exactly it. The right clothes communicate energy, care, and self-respect. It has nothing to do with following fashion or spending a fortune. Choosing basic and well-kept pieces like a good polo shirt or a neutral-colored t-shirt and avoiding very worn-out clothes already makes a big difference. Swapping clothes that are too loose or too tight for well-fitted pieces also helps to revitalize your appearance. Ask someone you trust for help if you need it. What matters is that the clothing feels like a comfortable hug. You can start slowly, choosing a piece that flatters you and see how even the way you walk changes. When we feel good in what we wear, our confidence grows, and along with it comes the interest of others, affection, and respect. Habit 4. Complaining or criticizing too much. After taking care of our image and the way we communicate, it's time to take a closer look at our attitudes during conversations. Many times, without realizing it, we can fall into a trap that pushes people away and ages us on the inside. Excessive complaining and criticism. It's natural to feel nostalgic about the old days, to compare how things were and how they are now, but if we're not careful, that comparison turns into bitterness. And the worst part is that many times we don't even realize we're complaining so much. I met a man named Daniel, who was the very picture of friendliness when he was young. Everyone liked to hear his stories, his adventures. Over time, he became more withdrawn, more critical. In every conversation, he would soon say, "In my day, things were better," or "Nowadays, no one is any good anymore." At first, his friends laughed and found it funny, but over time, they started to avoid longer get-togethers. It was as if a gray cloud formed around him every time he opened his mouth, and he didn't understand why. He said it was because no one wanted to hear the truth. But look, it's not that people don't accept different opinions. The problem is the frequency and the tone. Complaining all the time wears out the person who's listening. Constant criticism gives the impression of bitterness, harshness, and a lack of interest in the present. But that's also easy to change. Instead of saying, "In the old days things were much better," how about saying, "In my time things were different, and today it's interesting. Interesting to see how things have changed." Try to focus on the positive aspects of the present. Control how often you criticize, and share your memories in a light way, like stories. Remember that every generation faces its own challenges. These small adjustments make spending time together more enjoyable, create space for richer exchanges, and most importantly, help keep the joy alive within us. Because the truth is, no one likes to be around someone who is always pointing out what's wrong all the time. People are drawn to lightness, curiosity, and good humor. And we, who have seen and lived through so much, have within us an infinite source of stories, lessons, and wisdom. You just have to choose the right tone to share them. The energy you give off comes back to you. If you spread complaints, you get silence and distance in return. If you spread curiosity and good humor, you receive affection and companionship. So next time you feel like complaining, try turning your criticism into a story. How about looking at the world through the eyes of someone who still has so much to learn, discover, and laugh about? Habit 5, closed posture and body language. We've already talked about the importance of taking care of our image, the words we use, and the energy we transmit in conversations. Now it's time to pay attention to this. It's something that often says more about us than any word. Body language. The way we move, the way we look, the way we position ourselves in front of people has a huge impact. Even without opening our mouths, we are already communicating emotions, intentions, and even states of mind. I want to share a real example. Clara, a neighbor, has always been a cheerful woman, full of life. But one day, while looking at some photos taken at a birthday party, She noticed something she had never seen before. She was always slouching, with her arms crossed and looking down. In the photo, she looked sad, closed off, distant, very different from how she felt she was. That's when it hit her. The body was telling a different story than what she felt inside. And that happens to many of us, especially as the years go by. Body aches, fatigue, or even a lack of motivation can gradually make our posture more closed off without us even noticing. But this closed posture sends others a message of discouragement, harshness, or disinterest, and unintentionally ends up pushing people away. But just like everything we've talked about so far, improving this is simpler than it seems. Small changes make a huge difference. Keeping your spine aligned, as if there were a string pulling you from the top of your head, helps you maintain a firm and confident posture. Looking into the eyes of the person you're talking to while keeping your arms uncrossed shows openness and receptiveness. Move your hands in a natural, meaningful way while speaking, using gentle gestures. And smiling sincerely also helps to create a welcoming and confident image. These simple gestures create an image of vitality, interest, and warmth. And the result is wonderful. More people come closer, more conversations flow, and more enjoyable moments happen. Posture also influences what we feel inside. When we carry ourselves with an open, upright posture, we send a message of strength and confidence to our brain. It's as if the body tells the mind, we're fine, we're ready to live the best of life. And this, my friend, has no age limit to happen. Every morning is a new chance to straighten your spine, lift your head, and smile at the world. It doesn't matter if we're 20, 60, or 90 years old, the language of the body is universal and eternal. If you notice that you're very hunched over, that your shoulders are always closed, that your gaze avoids others, start slowly, adjust one thing at a time, one step at a time. One day you'll find yourself walking with more confidence, looking with more brightness, and opening your arms to the world without fear. Good posture reinforces a good personal image. Good, gentle communication and lightness in your words. It's a virtuous circle that starts with small gestures and leads to great transformations. Habit 6. Halitosis and body odor. Habit 8, Habit 9, body action. Habit action, habit RKA. Let's talk now about something that may seem small but makes a huge difference. Taking care of your breath and body odor. I know it's a delicate subject, but it's important for us to talk about it naturally and respectfully. After all of us are likely to go through this at some point in our lives. And the good news is that most of the time, the solutions are simple and very effective. The body changes over time, your metabolism changes, the mouth gets drier, sweat can develop a different smell. All of this is natural. But if we don't pay attention to these signs, we might end up pushing people away without even understanding why. Want to see an example? Peter, my walking buddy, was an upbeat guy, the kind who lights up any conversation. But he started to notice that people would take a step back when he got close. At first he thought it was just his imagination. Then he figured maybe it was some kind of random dislike. Until a friend very gently explained that his breath was strong. Peter, without knowing it, was dehydrated and also taking medication that made his mouth even drier, which made the problem even worse. All it took was talking, starting to drink more water, using alcohol-free mouthwash, and carrying sugar-free gum in his pocket, and everything changed. Little by little, the smile and closeness returned. This kind of situation is more common than you might think, and there's nothing shameful about it. It's just another aspect of health that deserves our attention. Drinking plenty of water, using alcohol-free mouthwash, carrying sugar-free gum or mint candies, and practicing careful oral hygiene are simple steps that keep your breath fresh. It's also important to visit the dentist regularly, maintain personal hygiene with daily showers, and use an effective deodorant. And choose clothes made of natural fabrics like cotton. The most important thing is to understand that taking care of these details is an act of kindness toward yourself and those who live with you. It's like preparing your home to welcome dear guests. We tidy up, clean, add some fragrance, right? We do this to create a pleasant environment. The same goes for our body, which is our first home. And look how interesting. When we feel fresh, clean, well taken care of, our posture changes, our confidence grows, and our willingness to interact is renewed. It even seems like we feel lighter, freer to enjoy life. So, if you notice that your body is asking for more care, respond with kindness, without shame, without guilt, without fear. These are small gestures that protect great relationships. In the end, what really matters is to remember that our true age lives in our habits, in our attitudes, and in the sparkle we choose to keep in our eyes. See how small habits can change the way the world sees you? Age doesn't define you, your habits do. When you take care of your image, your communication, your posture, and your presence, the shine that already exists in you is seen and felt by everyone again. As that 85-year-old doctor used to say, it's our habits that shape our essence and our appearance. And he's right. Each small act of self-care is like a seed planted that soon blossoms into smiles, hugs, and pleasant conversations. Just imagine, you walk into a room with your head held high, well-groomed clothes, a smile on your face, and an attentive, curious look. People naturally turn to you, want to hear what you have to say, and feel good in your presence. It's not magic, it's just the natural result of small daily choices, choices that say, I care about myself and about those around me. Now tell me, which of these habits made you reflect the most? Comment down below. If these tips helped you, share them with someone who will relate to them too. And remember, it's never too late to bloom again. Every day is a new chance to be seen, heard, and valued for the treasure that you are. Thank you for being here with me today. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this, which can transform your life with small gestures of wisdom. See you in the next video.